Hey everyone, and thank you for joining the Ken Stands on Things YouTube channel. In this episode, we're going to talk about the Rutgers Unite Half Marathon with fellow BibRave Pro Lacey Timoni. And just for kicks, this is my ugly face to here. First question, obviously, how long have you been a BibRave Pro?
I've been a BibRave Pro since January, so I'm brand new, and this was my first race.
Oh, cool. And so I know that we had talked privately through Slack, but if you wouldn't mind, how did you get started in running?
Military basic training,
Uh,
that 2 mile run.
uh, did you do any sports in school or anything like that, or
Cheerleading.
oh?
Yeah. Nothing
So,
too intense.
what's one of your most memorable experiences running? Obviously, with basic training, that's a whole nother ball game alone, right there.
Right. So actually, when I was stationed at Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio, Texas, I tried out and I made the Fort Sam Houston Army 10 miler team.
Hmm.
And they sent us temporary duty to Washington, D.C. to compete and run in the Army 10 miler.
Ooh.
So it was like all paid for, everything. We had matching jerseys. It said Fort Sam Houston. I still have it. So it was real cool. It was a cool experience. There's 5 girls, five boys, and I'm still friends with those girls till today, and some of those guys that were on the team as well. And it was such a good time.
Oh, that sounds like a
We
lot of
had a
fun.
we had a coach and we had practices, and
Huh.
I actually got out of military PT, mandatory PT, because I was on the 10 miler team.
Oh,
So I didn't have
nice.
to wake up at dark 30 and go to PT because I was like, nope, I'm on the 10 miler team.
What was that training like? Did you guys run 10 miles like every dime or?
We were running like 14 miles
Oh
every
wow.
weekend,
Hmm.
and we were doing, I think, 6 to 8 twice a week during the week, as well as cross training. And then our coach,
Huh.
like, he was this old school, crusty Army E9. I'm Air Force. I made the Army team, which
Hmm.
is like, everybody calls us the chair force.
Right.
So I was like, no, I can run with the Army. But he literally would be like, okay, he'd draw a line in the sand with his foot. He'd be like, this is the starting line. Just run till you see my truck. So we would just run down the road. We'd see his truck and then he'd turn. So
Oh.
we were just chasing his truck. We had no idea how far we were going to go. And then the first 5 people to reach his truck when he decided to stop made the team.
Oh, nice.
And then he would make us do triathlons too. But we'd swim, then run, then bike. Is that how
Okay.
you do it? Isn't it
I have
swim,
no
bike,
clue.
run?
I don't know.
But he'd be like, "We're just gonna do a triathlon today for training," and I'm like, "I don't know how to swim,"
Oh man.
so I figured it out.
Yeah, I think triathlons I wouldn't do well because I hate swimming. I do like the doggy paddle, and that's about the extent of my swimming.
Yeah,
Not
that's
really
how
into it.
I was when I first started.
Huh. So going to a BibRave partnered race, you get free race entries. And did you meet up with different BibRave pros, or I
I
think I
did.
saw?
I met Miles. Wait, what's his Instagram handle is like kilometers,
Oh,
and then I met Becky.
oh, okay, cool. Yeah, it's funny. You only know people by their Instagram handle and not their real name. And then when you see them in person, you're like, sorry, I
I'm like,
don't.
I know you.
Yeah, I don't want to sound weird. So,
We're online, right?
so pre-race, do you do anything weird? Do you have like a specific pair of socks or a specific meal that you have to have before race, or is there you just kind of go with it?
So what I always do, well, I did have a pair of socks, but I think they're getting kind of old. So now I'm on to another favorite pair of socks. But I always have one glass of wine or one beer the night before.
Hmm.
I guess I just started it to like calm my nerves. I never do liquor or anything like that, but like a
Right.
red wine or a beer.
Huh. That's interesting.
No, I was gonna say I ran this 115K with like tube socks
Yeah.
the first time, and it like I had been doing 5Ks, and I was like, okay, I'll just do a 15K, and it was the worst. I had to take my shoes off at like mile 8 because my and then I crossed the finish line, and this lady was real like snobby to me. She's like, "Well, look at your socks." Okay, lady.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's funny because when I first started running, it was sort of the same way. I didn't really have any actual running shoes. I think it's just like a pair of like I don't even remember what I had on, but like no running clothes at all
Same.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
And like now it's like I can't run unless if I'm not wearing running shorts, I can't just wear regular like mesh shorts to go run. They have to be running shorts.
Yeah. Same. Same.
It's pretty funny. It's like the downside of when you first start, you're really naive and you're just like, oh whatever, I'll just go run, you know.
Yeah.
And like when you get into it, you sort of like oh I have to wear this or I have to wear that. It's kind of funny.
Like, I'll just go to Target and get a pair of running shoes.
Yeah,
They look
yeah,
cute.
yeah.
Yeah.
On race day, what are some must-have things that you bring with you during the race? So it could be whatever.
Just basically my watch and my headphones and my phone. That's it.
What kind of watch?
I have a Garmin
Okay.
Forerunner that I've purchased in 2013, and I've been using it ever since.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I have a really old. It's a Garmin Forerunner, but it's like a 225. I haven't upgraded since. Everyone's like, "Oh, you should get a new Garmin," but I love mine because it
Right.
doesn't have text messages, doesn't have music, so they're like, there's no distractions. Music. That was sort of further on down. I wrote music, yes or no. Do you have any music preferences?
So I love Eminem. Listen, it's real psychological because like sometimes like hurting to go up a hill or something like that.
Right.
And then I think to myself like this guy had addiction, like his mom was crazy, he had all these problems and if he can get through that, I can get up this hill.
That's a good way to put it.
That's literally and then I start to think like I'm like I don't know why I just start to think about like I'm blessed, like I can afford running shoes, I can afford socks, I can afford clothes. I'm not living in a trailer, and I like start to think about like people really have it a lot worse than me running up this hill.
Oh, yeah, you put some perspective on it. Yeah,
Right.
definitely. Follow-up question. When you're ready to start the race, are you social butterfly? Are you nervous as you get up towards the starting line? Or are you kind of like cool, calm, ready to go? I'm like a jittery mess. I'm like all over the place.
I'm zoned in. I literally like I put my headphones in and I get my watch going and I'm just observing and I'm just hanging out.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
kind of don't want to be bothered. That's my zen.
right. So with Rutgers, I saw there was like 4,000 some people registered for the race. I don't know if that
Yeah.
seems right or not, but with that many people, I imagine it's pretty kind of crazy on race day itself. So, do you have any race strategies? I tend to start towards the back a little bit whenever I run, and I always end up hitting like a ton of traffic. So, do you try to sign up for corrals towards the front, or do you just kind of like wherever? Crowds don't really bother you at all.
It doesn't bother me. I usually tend to go towards the back
Yeah,
so I don't go out too fast.
yeah. That's probably my biggest problem is that I always go out
Yeah.
way too fast.
Yeah.
So what is speaking of that? Do you have like a race strategy?
I try to go out slow and smooth and pick it up.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, that's kind of what I do. I don't really have a method to it. I just kind of, unless I'm racing, like if it's a 5K and I'm trying to make time, then I will go and hit it hard. But if it's something just like, if it's like a half marathon or something like that, I'll tend to start off a little slower.
hmm. Yeah. It's funny because it for some reason like I get in my head way too much, which
Yeah.
drives me insane, especially with half marathons, especially road races because road race it's so focused on time that I'll get into my head a little too much. Probably not the best thing, but I'll like get myself psyched out to the point where when we start, I like take off, I go crazy,
Right.
not really thinking like, oh, maybe I should like cool down or try to like conserve some energy. It never happens that way.
Yeah. No,
Um,
yeah. There it is.
this may sound like a weird question, but aid stations, do you carry like your own stuff or do you prefer to stop at aid stations along the way?
I don't use any water until I'm over 13 miles.
Really?
I don't know. That's a military thing because I promise you, when we were training for the Army 10 miler, it's like, you don't need water, keep going.
Huh. That's
And I
insane.
actually I did a hydration study down at Westchester University, and they made me drink water like every 10 minutes, and I told them the exact same thing. I said, this is so opposite to the military because we go for long distances without water, and they said, yes, like, well, the Army is notorious for that.
Huh.
Like you don't need, so did one aid station today in the half marathon, and that's it. It was like mile 11. I was like, okay, I'll get a little thing of water. And that was the only thing that I did.
So you don't carry like any gels or anything like that at all?
Oh, I do carry gels.
Okay.
So I did do gels, at the start and then every 45 minutes in.
Huh.
When I did my first full marathon, I forgot gels, so I just went without.
Yeah.
Which was tiring by mile 20.
Yeah, I can imagine. I don't know why I have like this mental roadblock where I'll do the half marathon with no problem, but then anything over that, I get like really, oh, I can't do that. So I gotta sort of have to work on getting over that. But so no fluids, but definitely gels.
Gels, yes.
Any preference on gel brands?
Not brand, but I like the more chocolatey flavors. I'm not really into the fruity flavors, but
Yeah.
I do like the chocolate espresso.
So tell us about the race today.
So a few things. I thought it was really cool. They had one starting line, and it was a half marathon and an 8K.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
So the half marathon started and went this way. But then the 8K went that way.
Huh.
But we had different start times. So then the half marathon actually went and did a loop around out and back and then came through the start line again and then did the 8K course.
Oh, wow.
So it was kind of cool, like, I don't know. And then you pass through the 8K. So it was about 5 miles left when you pass the pass the starting line to go into the 8K. And I thought that was different and pretty cool. So then the half marathon and the 8K kind of met up a little bit.
Huh.
But for me personally, I'm not really too focused on time right now just because I have other things going on in my life with my career.
Right.
And but I am trying to focus on my diet. I am a horrible eater. I eat a ton of junk food. And I'm trying to not do that. And I noticed today I felt amazing. I felt really good. I have limited my alcohol intake. I have limited my sugar and my added sugar intake. I've started with whole grains for my carbs.
Okay.
And I really felt the difference today. And I don't know, maybe it's snake oil or fake news, but
yeah.
I was like, I feel great. And the only thing I can attribute it to would be my diet. So I really think that my diet has made a difference.
Diet nutrition, I think, or the nutrition aspect of it, I think really helps as far as during the race and then after too, especially during the recovery.
No, I agree. And I'm not going vegetarian, but I have also done more vegetarian meals.
Right.
And I'm still eating meat. But like last night for lunch, I went to Panera Bread and I actually got some kind of vegetarian soup and a vegetarian sandwich. And I've just been trying to incorporate more fruits, vegetables, whole grain. Yeah, I agree.
So after this race, did you do anything special or was it just pretty much getting home?
I went to Starbucks and got a chocolate milk.
Yeah.
And a little protein bar. I really am not that hungry after I finish running.
That's interesting.
If they have beer at the finish line, I will allow myself to have no more than 2.
Right.
But that's about it. I think not next weekend because it's Easter, but the weekend after I have the Brooklyn Hot Chocolate 15K, which is a BibRave race as well.
Right.
And my cousin is going to go with me, and this will be her first 15K, and she said that she wants to go out for beers after.
Oh, nice.
And again, I'll do no more than 2. But just trying to stay with that healthy eating, because to me it's not like once and done, oh, I did a half marathon. It's kind of like I did a half marathon and I still have goals. So I don't want to just undo everything that I just did.
Right.
And I'm really trying to learn about diet, and I don't really talk about it too much because I'm not a dietitian, so I don't want to like put fake information out there just because I feel good doing, plant-based. Doesn't mean other people will. I'm just But it's really been a challenge for me, especially as I get older, to focus on nutrition because I'm not 25 anymore. I can't go get a chicken fried steak and run 14 miles the next day.
Right. We try to work with what works for us. No,
I agree. I had a diet when I was on the Army 10-miler team. One of the guys that ran with us, he was a military nutritionist. And I'm just trying to go back to what I ate at that time because it was probably one of my better times.
Right.
And to be honest, like peanut butter and jelly for lunch has been amazing for me with running.
Oh yeah. Oh man, my wife still to this day kind of makes fun of me because I'll take peanut butter and jelly with me to work
And a
every day.
banana
Yeah,
every day.
because
Yeah,
usually what I try to do is if I miss running early in the morning, or if, if I don't run first thing in the morning, I have to run over my lunch at work. Otherwise, when I come home from work, I don't want to run.
right.
It's like one of those weird things. So if I do it first thing in the morning, it's fine. But if I run over lunch, I usually just take a peanut butter and jelly sandwich because that's like the best
Yeah.
after running.
No,
Um,
I agree.
so the last question I had was just what's next? You just said the hot chocolate race is up.
Yes, that's in 2 weeks, and then I'm actually doing the wine country, which is another in Santa Barbara. It's another BibRave
Oh, cool.
run. So I'm excited. I've never been to California,
Hmm.
and I've always wanted to go. So I'm just gonna go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, thank you for letting me interview you.
Well, thank you for having me.
It was nice to kind of meet you virtually.
Yeah.
It was nice talking to you. It was nice meeting with
Nice
you.
talking to you too. Nice meeting you too. We might see each other at a race one day.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, we'll see you. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed that interview with fellow BibRave Pro Lacey. To learn more about different races and to find different race reviews on some of your favorite races, be sure to check out BibRave.com. Thanks, and we'll see you on the next one.